Hey, Coach. It's nice to meet you, kind of. Hope your transition is going well so far.
Yeah, it's going good. Just moving in the house today, so the movers are inside. So beautiful blooming today, huh?
Yeah, my question for you is obviously coming in, you got a little bit of time with your guys, 4 practices, and, a few weeks of getting to know them. When you guys come back and things are back to normal, what are kind of the biggest things for you and your players that you're going to be focusing on to try to get, kind of back up to speed and back in the groove of things?
Well, the first thing that we got to do is make sure that everyone comes back and come back as fast and as healthy as we, in a manner as fast and healthy as we possibly can. So the biggest thing that we got to look at is getting these guys back in, some type of football shape. So, running and whatever model that we come back with, the biggest thing is to make sure they return safely, health-wise, after they get back healthy and safe-wise, get back in a manner that's both healthy and safe. Then, we got to get back to doing some skill work on their own. They got to get back in the weight rooms. A lot of these guys have been on their own and maybe doing body weight, lifting and all that stuff. So just getting them back in the ordinary grind of where you'd be in a normal college football season. I think we've done a good job of adapting to the circumstances at hand. But the biggest thing is getting these guys back in shape, getting them back in the weight room, and then get back working on some of their skill set.
All right, Kevin Brockway.
Sorry, it took me a while to unmute there. Coach, I'm just curious about, I know you haven't had much time, but if you can evaluate some of what you have this season, maybe based on film and how some of the pieces fit. I know, DeMarcus Elliott, for example, was a kind of a second, third team All Big Ten guy. What are your feelings about some of the talent, some of the personnel you have on the line?
Yeah, you know what? Very excited about a lot of the guys coming back. We got good depth at all the positions. I think Jerome Johnson is a talented player that can, stop the run and provide pass rush for you. DeMarcus Elliott, CO, both at the nose position, both have meaningful snaps. CJ Person's a guy that we're excited about that played, a few games last season, should be back healthy. And then at the ends position, James Head, Mike Ziemba, both guys have had, good success in this conference. And then, Lance Bryant, we're looking for him to be able to step up and provide some pass rush and do some things that showcase his ability. So pleased where we're at. And let's really look forward to get back to it.
All right, Taylor Lehman.
Hey, Coach. I know early on it seemed like DeMarge Lewis is really coming on pretty well, and I know you haven't really been able to see a whole lot more from him because spring practices coming to an abrupt end. But I was curious what you saw from him, whether that promise that is is kind of the same from your perspective.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you mentioned DeMarge because, he was really a guy that was, early enrollee, that he was just trying to learn the ropes of what's going on. But first of all, outstanding person, outstanding character, but he is a dynamic player. He's got some explosivity, he's got some twitch, and he's going to be a guy that we think can get in the mix next year. Those 4 practices were huge for him. We wish we would have had 15, but who doesn't? But we think that he has the ability to got a call. Gosh dang it. Sorry, we got another call that came in there. But we think he has the ability to really be a dynamic football player, a twitchy, strong, explosive guy, and looking forward to him extremely.
Tom Brew.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Doing well, man.
Hey, I know most guys with that defensive line group, they like to make sure they've got plenty of depth so they can play a lot of guys. I take it you're of that same philosophy, and are you comfortable with the amount of depth you have at all your spots there?
Yeah, we're comfortable with our depth. Absolutely. And yeah, we do like to play a lot of guys. And one of the recruits there, one of our current players actually asked me, what was my philosophy about that the other day. So, I think as the earlier in the season you are, maybe hotter temperatures, obviously you need to substitute more frequently. And later in the season, when it's a little bit cooler, defensive linemen, they can play a little more snaps. But obviously if you've got, 8 guys that can play over 4 positions or 12 guys that can play over 4 positions, then that gives you an opportunity to always have the 4 best guys for that situation. That's absolutely our philosophy. We play a bunch of guys in those situations. Put guys in the best position they can to play hard with great effort.
Sammy Jacobs.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. You had a veteran in Jovan Swann. What does he bring to the defensive line room? Being a fifth-year senior, he was very productive at Stanford. What does he add to your room?
You know what you talk about, first of all, production. Anybody that has almost a dozen sacks, in his career in a little bit different scheme that's maybe harder to get sacks out of, he's going to provide a lot of playmaking ability. If you just meet Jovan and talk with Jovan, he is a professional. The way he handles himself, we've had meetings and he's taking notes. He goes by his business the way that we do it in Indiana. So he brings a veteran guy that obviously has had success at this level, and then the way he handles himself and what he can bring to the table on both, showing the younger guys the way in which to study the game, the way in which to handle himself in meetings, and then obviously the production that will come with it. So very excited about what he can bring for us, and I think he's going to have great success coming back to the state of Indiana.
Aaron Mattis.
Hey, Coach, just wondering if you could give us a little perspective of what this whirlwind's been like, accepting a new job and moving and trying to start recruiting all during this pandemic.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's been interesting. It's been a challenge. So I was headed back to New Orleans for spring break to see the wife, and that's sort of when all this thing hit. So I was down there for 6 weeks. I just moved up here Sunday. But we've been recruiting very hard. We have the Zoom meetings, the technology. It's been really, really good though, to be quite honest. I think a lot of the things we'll move forward learning from this is because you can always learn things from any challenge that you have. But we've been very active on recruiting and with the Zoom and getting kids on, parents on the phone. So it's been really good, to be honest with you. It's been unique, but I think it's been a positive situation for us. And I even think I've gotten a chance to know our current players better. We tried to meet several days a week on Zoom and, calling guys up and having individual talks with them. So it's been a real positive experience. It's like all of us, you miss being around people, but there's been a lot of good that's come out of it.
Dylan Sin, do you have anything for Coach Peoples?
Yeah, Coach, I guess the main thing I wanted to ask you was what drew you to Indiana? Why did you think the Indiana was the right place for you? And what do you think about Tom Allen and his ability to lead this program?
It's a great question. Well, first of all, I think everything that you sort of asked, you can go back to a couple of things. One is Coach Tom Allen. I didn't know him extremely well before I took this job, but I've had several guys that know him very, very well, and how highly they spoke of him as a person, just a genuine person and a great leader is amazing. I mean, the way he cares about people, the way he treats people, and then he's a tireless worker. I've been around a lot of successful football coaches, and I don't know if I've ever been around anybody that works harder and cares about people more than Coach Allen. So, and then obviously this conference is a great conference. So it's a combination between, Coach Allen, the defensive staff, what the vision that Coach Allen has for Indiana, the chance to be a part of it. So that's in short, that's really why I was very, very interested in wanting to come to this job.
All right, Kevin Brockway, last one for Coach.
Yeah, Coach Allen has talked a lot about you as a really good kind of a technician coach in terms of, pass rushers and hands on the defensive line. I was just curious about maybe some of your core philosophies and some of the things that you're going to maybe try to teach from a mechanics standpoint.
A lot of the things that we do come from, a guy that is my mentor. His name is Pete Jenkins, a longtime college NFL coach. I think he's got about 6 or 7 guys in the NFL that are coaches that have studied under his. So we all come from the same philosophy. To get real specific against the run, we're going to be hips, hands, and feet, and striking blockers. There's progression to everything that we're doing. And the same thing in pass rush. A lot of coaches go out there, defensive line coaches, they say, hey, we're going to get off. Get off is very important to us. The ball snaps, get off is important. But I think a lot of coaches don't. But then what? All right, so get off is obviously huge and hugely important. But we have a process. We have a way to teach guys after they get off, where their eyes go, where their hand placements are. And so that's what we try to teach. It's a step-by-step progression, teaching progression. So it's been proven effective, by many coaches under his tutelage. So that's what we're going to try to do. And as anything, it's a coach's responsibility to put his guys in the best position they can. So we're not going to ask guys to do something they can't. We have a good enough defensive scheme. We got Coach Womack that is very creative with the schemes, and we're going to put guys in the right situation. So we're going to adapt to the talent and use the talent at hand to maximize what we can do defensively.
All right, Kevin, appreciate the time. Good luck with the move.
Thank you, man. Thanks, y'all. Stay safe.
Same with you.
Wear those masks.
Yes, sir.
Bye, buddy.
All right, Jovan, you there?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll get going. We'll start with Matt Weaver with a question for you, okay?
All right.
Hey, Jovan, how's it going, man?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm okay. Since you, obviously over the last few weeks, since you made your decision and all that, how much, I guess, I'm sure you've had a lot of contact with the coaches, Coach Peoples, Coach Wellman. I guess how much have they kind of helped you? I mean, you're an experienced guy as far as working out and know how to keep your body in shape, but how much interaction have you had with Coach Wellman and his guys about kind of putting a plan in place so that when things get started back up, you're ready to go?
Absolutely. So we've been using, of course, Zoom, FaceTime, and everything to stay in touch and everything. I, like the other guys, haven't met Coach Wellman in person, but we've had a couple phone conversations. He's, organized a training plan for us. Luckily, I have access. I've, got a little home gym in the garage, and I sent him a list of the items I have, and he made a specific workout for the things that I'm able to do, and it's been great in that way. He's been detailing, staying in shape and running, just like Coach Peoples alluded to, is that's what makes we're going to have to get into good football shape, and if we stay on top of that now, that's going to be the best for us in the end. And I know I believe in my strength and things like that. I can always develop. Being a fifth-year guy, I know what the weaknesses I need to work on, and I just communicated that to those guys, and they emphasize work on what you need to work on, and they're kind of trusting in me to go through my process and trust in my process.
All right, Kevin Brockway.
The coaches, Jovan, have talked a lot about your leadership. What do you think kind of goes into that, and what do you think maybe makes you a good leader?
That's funny. I just try to, everybody says, I know that everybody says that this game means a lot to them. I just try to emulate, the great players before me, from my high school, from the colleges I've, visited and things like that, just taking bits and pieces, practicing with, really great players and great men, and just trying to, it's easy to do. Everybody wants to be, a winner and everything like that. So just do what winners do is what I try to go by every day. It's one thing to say this game means a lot to you, but to live it out each and every day, tirelessly, to be obsessive about it is what I try to do. I know some guys might look at me as like, oh, this guy's a little uptight. He's a little too serious, but that's all right by me, because I'm going to try to do what I can until my body can't do it anymore. And that's what I try to do. And I guess that turns out to, end up being a great leader. And I hope, guys follow me, and I hope I'm doing the right thing at the end of the day, which I try to do each and every day. So.
Taylor Lehman.
Hey, Jovan. Coach Peoples kind of referred to a difference in scheme and philosophy along the defensive line between Stanford and Indiana. how do you feel that difference kind of, I don't know, fits your strengths, or maybe it works around your weaknesses, maybe in a way that Stanford's didn't?
I think Stanford had a great defense, but at the end of the day, I wanted to get into a scheme that fitted my playing style better, just more of an attack and react style instead of react attack. And I know Coach Peoples is definitely a coach that we've met and we've been talking for the last couple of months since he got hired on, and I'm excited to get to work with him. He's got some great philosophy behind what he's doing on up front. He's got a lot of guys that are in the NFL, and I watched their tape after he mentioned them to me, and just to see, what he's been able to develop them into is what I'm all about. And I'm excited to get up front and play more of that attack style defense, similar to what I did in high school. I know that was a long time ago, but I still got it in me, and I'm excited to, tap into that, and get after it.
Tom Brew.
Hey, Jovan, it's nice to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Question for you. You're an Indiana kid, obviously. So what's it mean to you to be able to wrap up your career here in Bloomington and kind of just put the cherry on top with like you have today, with Indiana blazing across your chest?
Absolutely. Just my girl got me this as a gift as soon as I committed, and it means more than you know. I was ultimately had Indiana my final three, before getting to the West Coast, and just that wasn't just for show. That's because I truly value the state of Indiana and what everybody the support that I have here. But to wrap it up here, it means more than like I said, and I'm excited to just be able to have my family around games. I know it's $500 round trip to get to California, and that wasn't fun. But I had to get my degree, and they knew that it was a business trip in that way. And just to be able to come back home and be able to get that support in person means the world to me. And I'm just excited to give my all to everybody in Indiana.
Sammy Jacobs.
Good morning, Jovan. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well. Jovan, what are your strengths coming in? You've had, 4 years of college experience. What can you add to this defensive line room that maybe they were missing, last year or in the past?
I haven't not been able to watch a lot of tape, so I know what I'll be able to bring to the table is quickness and some agility. And I know that leverage up front, coming from a guy that's 6'1", 6'2", I know that I'll be able to do a lot of different things and play all four positions and whatever's asked of me. So I'm just going to try to be a versatile guy and make the most chaos I can in the backfield as it's asked of me. And what I can bring to the room is I'm just going to try to just have the guys understand that every day matters, every day counts, every rep matters. So not to take a moment off, because not every day, every rep is promised, not every play is promised. And if I can, get that through to the guys, it's going to be a great season. I know that they already play hard, and I would not have committed to a school that I didn't think, was a group of guys that played with tenacious mentality and just were full of energy and always, were ball hawks as they, you talk with Coach Womack, and we had that philosophy of that swarm D, and that's really was influential in my decision-making process, just to play with a group of guys that really cared, all 11 to the ball. And I'm excited to get into that meeting room hopefully when they release us, and just get working with the dogs.
Rick Bozich.
Hey, Jovan, you mentioned that Indiana was in your top three the last time. Now this time you're in IU. What's different now? What made you decide to come to Indiana this time and last time you didn't?
Ultimately, I mean, just to be closer to home. I know that it's a beautiful thing, to go out on the West Coast and play in the the consistent 70-degree weather or whatever it may be. But to get closer to home, to have my family there and present to support me in my last year of college ball before I go to the next level, as I dream to, and will continue to work towards. To play for a coach like Coach Allen, I know that I'll never forget. I mean, December 15th, the last day recruiting was open, I was able to get an impromptu visit down to one of their practices for bowl prep for Tennessee, and Coach Allen was able to take me to the side. I don't think he even knew I was coming. He was able to take me to the side, and we talked for 45 minutes. Impromptu, was not asked of him. But just for that time of day, I knew that, Indiana was the place for me. A man driven by God is always a great man to me. And I know that it's somebody I can follow after and learn from, before I go into that next level.
Olivia.
Hey, Jovan. I had just spoken with your strength coach. Obviously, you guys are both in the same boat of coming into somewhere brand new and trying to be resourceful during this time. But wanted to ask how you're getting creative with your workouts right now, and the most creative one you've seen from your team, I guess, so far.
Okay, that's a great question. So I got on Facebook Marketplace. That's a blessing to me. Got a little rack set up in the garage. Got my plates and weights and everything. But the most creative thing I would say is on my behalf. I actually got on YouTube and made a tire sled. Just cut a little slit into an old tire. Went to the tire shop and tied a rope to it, and it's a push sled, pull sled, whatever you may be. And going about it in that way. I know I've seen a couple of guys, and it sparked our interest, my group of guys that we train with, to push a truck. So we got a few trucks, being from Indiana, Midwest guy. I've got an F-150. We pushed that around a little bit, try to get some 10-second pushes in or something like that, just to build up that, stamina and endurance, and that way the muscle fatigue. And so those are one of the two. I know that, we got some guys in Florida, Indiana's, known for getting the Florida recruits. And I've seen some guys working on the sand. I'm kind of jealous of that, because it's great for the body. But that's pretty cool to me, and going about it in that way.
Dylan Sin.
Hey, Jovan. I guess the main thing for me is just what are you trying to get better at before the season starts? You talked about you can always get better at certain things. What are your goals before this season begins?
So the main focus for me is, of course, in my eyes, I need to double the number of sacks that I got last season by at least. That's something that I'm definitely, looking to improve, just getting more opportunities to rush the passer. But, we said that we have to earn the right to rush the passer. So that comes with, stopping the run. You got to stop the run the first 2 downs, and wherever they want to put me, I'm ready to, get to work and make sure that I am a force up front, that, we can earn the right to rush the passer, and then we got to get home, just being, just being able to get an arsenal of pass rush moves. If I work with Coach Peoples and, sending him videos and, listening to his coaching points from afar has been a blessing to me so far. I just can't wait to get back into the meeting room and back on the practice field in person to keep improving that.
All right, Tom Brew, last one for Jovan.
Jovan, last year in Indiana won 8 games, and the program's on the rise and such. You have a bit of a unique perspective, I guess, from looking at that program 4 years ago to now. What are the most obvious things that jump out to you as to what Indiana football is like now in 2020 compared to your first look 4 years ago?
So my brother was actually in the locker room back when I was in high school, and that was, a big help for me in the recruiting process. He went through it, and he went to Eastern Michigan, transferred to IU, and I would say the biggest thing that I, was looking for in schools and what I noticed in Indiana and over the last 4 years is a change in culture. I know Coach Tom Allen has brought in the LEO and the motto that they live by, and that's truly what they live by. I mean, you're on the practice field, and I'm just in December, I'm looking at these guys just, play with passion, play with, precision, and, loving what they're doing. And not to say that weren't 4 years ago, but it's more prominent. You can feel that vibe, and everybody's really playing for each other. There's no selfish players out there. And if you listen to any of the players, they're all passionate about, what their brotherhood has developed and what they're going to do this upcoming season. So I'm just excited, and they've welcomed me with open arms, just to get involved with that. And I'm excited for the LEO and what Coach Tom Allen is going for us, and that's what I think that's been the biggest difference as the culture change. And yeah.
All right, Jovan, appreciate the time, bud. Stay safe.
Oh, you guys as well. Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, thanks.